Alright, hey everyone. Let's do a track breakdown of Alchemy, my new track that just came out. Everyone has already heard this big banger, I bet. And let's just go right through it. It's not a very complex project. It didn't take very long to make, to be honest with you. So let's just go through it in order. We'll go through the intro, the first drop, the breakdown, and the second drop, and then the outro. So the intro is it's basically just this melody, and I just consolidated it into audio, and I blurred it in Edison, I think, and then I just reversed it and put a filter on it so it opens the track like this. And then an impact comes in with some delay, and I've cut the low end off of that. And then we get through this is a trick that I use in a lot of my tracks where I can't bother to write an actual intro, so I'll just do a little effect like this. I'm just gonna reduce my volume a little bit because it's a bit loud. There we go. It's just the basic rees that we have going here. This patch, insane rees. All it's doing is cutoff, I think. Yeah, the cutoff is automated, so it's just rising. It's not that one. That one. And then right before the drop, I filter out the low end from it, so the drop hits a little bit harder. And then before the drop, I just have this, which is also in the drop, so I just tease that a little bit there, I suppose. And then this melody, which comes in here, so that's also teasing that. And then we have just the riser, some fills before the drop, and I do this dynamic delay thing, which leads to a drop, so let's hear that out. So the dynamic delay is something that I've used before. I think it was on my debut EP. I think I did it in Shadows, that track. So let's try to find that. I should have organized this a little bit better. I'm sure we can handle it. Just trying to find which one it is. This one. So I put the dynamic delay onto the top bell, and when we get to a drop, it automates the delay that has the feed and trash and intensity pretty high. So then it'll just rise to that point, and then I cut it out so it doesn't continue to a drop, because that would just mud it up. And this is what it sounds like. And then we have the drum fills, of course. Classic. Let's go over the drums in the drop. So we've got this loop. Literally just a drum loop. I did no EQing on it. I have a destructor, harmor, log, preamp. I have a soft clipper on it for some reason. Then I have this. Then what else is there? That's literally all the drums. And then in the second part I add, I think, this. And the drop melody is, we've got this bell. One of my favorite presets ever. I use this in a lot of my tracks, in a lot of my projects. And the main lead is this sound. So it's 2 leads. One is just, I think that's originally a Soul Wave harmonic series, and then I'm just doing some little FMing, filter, and then the second layer is just another patch that I've made apparently, that has a formant filter on it. And sidechain, of course. I've distorted this a little bit, cut the lows out. Then on the other lead I probably did something similar. Camel Crusher, cut the lows, some delay on it. Then after the reverb and delay I also cut the lows out, and a sidechain of course. And I automated the wet level of the other lead, so this one. So you can see the wet of the reverb goes up and down. And then I just have this, like, pretty much this thing that's in the intro. I think I just used it again. Yeah, I used that again as like background ambience. And I have OTT'd it, some destructor, EQ'd some annoying frequencies out, and then boosted at the same spot. So it gives it a little bit more energy, I suppose. And sidechain, duh. Sub bass, probably very straightforward. Yeah. This is a common sub that I use. Low band filter, soft clip it to shreds, and then just do a cut like that. So it's cutting under 140 Hz. And then the other bass is this. Nice little patch in Vital, some FM on it. I have a variation macro on it that I don't think I used in this track. I didn't do anything with that. And then probably the last thing in the drop is just this fill. Can you even hear it? No, because it's muted. There we go. Cashmere. I got Destructor on it, and then just little boost in the high end and cutting the lows out, as always. And that is pretty much the first drop. I'm not automating anything here. It's pretty much just the same thing throughout. Just adding this. Yeah, drop claps. That's what I forgot to mention about the drums. Just cut the low end out of that as well. And then it just goes on. Breakdown, pretty simple stuff. We've got effects coming in, so just this. A lot of times I like to use ping pong delay on my effects, so it plays out a little bit longer, so you don't have to fill it in with other stuff. You can just use one effect that you really like, and then I took the drop lead and I made the reverb of it pretty high, so I can use it in the breakdown as like an sort of ambient lead. And then I also bring back the rees. It's pretty much the same thing as here. The only thing that changes is, let's see, Yeah, the part before the drop is different, so I made this. Let's just solo that part. The delay is probably gonna do something in it as well, but let's see. So I had a little chord thing like this before this drop. Just a saw wave, and it's doing nothing except I have a filter, I have a cutoff filter that's just going up. And we have, as it rises, so does the mix of the flanger, the chorus, and I think that's it. Yeah, and then I probably had a reverb on it too. Yeah, that also goes up. And then it gets muted right before the drop starts, because I didn't want to use the chords in the drop. And compared to the first drop, the only thing that's new is this, if I'm not completely mistaken. OTT, Camel Crusher, cutting a lot of resonant frequencies out, and a sidechain. So I didn't want to add a lot of stuff to the other drop. I thought there was a lot of stuff to begin with anyway, even though it's pretty straightforward. And I just have this lead. I wanted like a sustain kind of ambient lead in the background, so that's why I added this. And we do also have this riser that I made. I'm cutting just a little bit there, the low end, and reverb and duck, which is what I use for all of my sidechains pretty much. So pretty straightforward stuff, really. I don't normally use just like a basic drum loop like this as a whole, but you know, this one sounded good. Didn't see anything bad in doing it, and I think the second drop has enough new elements for it to not be boring. And then after this, we just have a very basic outro, so I've taken just the kick part of the drum loop. And then I've just filtered out the bass and everything else. And then the track ends. I think the only thing I didn't mention is, was it this? Yeah, so I have this vocal, which does that pitch shifting thing in this drop. In this other drop, it's just the same notes. But here it sort of complements this. Now that's pretty much it. Also cut the lows out of the vocal because that's what you do. You know, basic EQ thing. And that is pretty much the track. I didn't do a lot of big tricks. I guess the ones you could take away are doing a pre-drop is pretty fun when you do a delay trick like this. So just any delay plugin will work, where you can just automate the feedback and the trash and then just drop it down right before the drop starts. Leads to a pretty cool effect. And then I also did... I had Fruity Balance on the master that drops down the volume before the second drop just a little bit. It goes from 80% to 76. So it's barely hearable, but you can feel it basically. So that makes the drop feel like it hits a little bit harder. It's basically an illusion. And that's pretty much what the track consists of. Not a lot of stuff. Mastering chain. I have span. That's what I use to analyze my tracks pretty much 100% of the time. The balance did that volume thing. We have a parametric EQ2 that cuts below 20 hertz and I think, what is the preset? 18,000, yeah. So I do that in every project because it's just free headroom in your mix. And then I have a Maximus that has a ceiling so it doesn't clip. We have the low in mono and we're just boosting everything, or the pre-gain of everything is raised by like 5.3, 5.3, 5.2. And that's the mastering of this track essentially. And we're hitting, let's see what the loudest part is, probably here. So we were hitting -5 RMS, which is a very loud track. We can also look at it through this. As you can see, it's a very loud track, and on Spotify the volume of it will probably be reduced quite a lot, but I wanted it to be loud and it turned out loud. Didn't have to do a lot of extra work on the mastering part because of that. And that's pretty much it. That's the track. I hope you like it. You should absolutely check out the other projects on AMFLARA's first compilation. Big bangers on the comp, and thanks for watching. I'll see you around. Bye bye.